So Detroit Become Human is this game where you play as these androids. Androids have kind of like become a huge part of life. They're just everywhere. They basically do all the work, and humans don't have to do anything because androids do everything, like all the actual physical labor, clean up the streets, all the stuff that we as humans already don't want to do. The androids do in this game. And so you play as these three specific androids: Marcus, Connor, and Kara. Marcus's goal is to liberate and free the androids. He's like the savior, kind of super android. He's really cool, and he's the savior. And Connor works for the humans, and you play through his story. He kind of starts to see that it's a problem. He's a deviant. Sorry for the weird pause. I thought I had to sneeze, and then nothing came. I hate that. That's so like. Anyways, I won't get into that. So, Connor works for the humans. You play through his story. He's like a android cop kind of guy, and he slowly is becoming what they call a deviant. And a deviant is just an android who essentially isn't doing what they're supposed to do. Like, they're going against their code and their programming, and they're kind of just doing their own thing. They're essentially kind of just becoming human. And Kara is an android. She just wants to be free. She's just trying to live a happy life. She just wants to be like chill. Her previous owner was like super abusive, was always beating up the daughter, who also turned out to be an android. So there was that whole thing. Like, it was really crazy. So she just wants to be free, live a happy life, just be peaceful. And so I played this game for my friends. One of my friends, like, he wanted something to watch while he was eating, and he didn't want to find a YouTube video or like a movie or a TV show. He just was like, "Hey, can you screen share your game? Like, I'm not gonna be eating for that long. Can you just like show me what game you're playing, and I'll just watch you play your game?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, cool." So I screen share, and he joins, and then we were just kind of sitting there. I was playing it, he was watching me play, and then the rest of our friends kind of just joined in and started watching. And so then we started making a bunch of jokes and like having fun watching it, because the way the game works is it's essentially like, it's kind of like just playing through a movie, right? So that's kind of what makes it fun, is like you just kind of sit there and you watch the story unfold, and it's like, whoa, this is a good story. I like this. This is cool. While you don't really have to do that much work, you just kind of get to sit there and be like, yeah, I mean, I guess he's kind of doing this thing or whatever. And then occasionally you hit a few buttons. You're like, oh, wait, I got to make sure I'm running away, or I'm in a fight, and you got to like do stuff like that. And if anybody's ever played like a Telltale game, it's kind of that same vein. And so, there's just a lot of, like, when you watch someone play the game, especially when you watch one of your friends play the game, a lot of it is just commentary. Like, you're just talking about it, you're laughing about, like, the game, and just making a bunch of jokes and stuff. And so one of the things that we really love, like, joking about, there's this one specific scene where you're playing as Connor, and he catches this android who is also a deviant, but he's one of the kind of weird deviants who became a deviant and then just started killing people. He was like, I'm gonna kill people. He had his reasoning behind it. He killed his owner because his owner was also abusive, because that is also a running issue in the game that you see a lot, is that a lot of the androids get abused by their owners because their owners don't see them as humans or having like any emotions. They're just like, you're a piece of machinery, you're an object, you're under my control. You are mine. For the androids who become deviants, they defend themselves, and what ended up happening with this deviant was that he was defending himself. He stabbed his owner. Not funny, I know, but the funny part is that, so you're playing as Connor, and he kind of just goes, he yells out,
28 stab wounds. 28 stab wounds. 28 stab wounds.
Stab wounds. And he's like smacking the table. And it is just
28 stab wounds.
All like quote that. As soon as that scene came on, we immediately started quoting it. And after that, for the rest of the time of me playing the game, we always made jokes just about that specific scene. There's a part where there's like an android strip club place that you can go to, that you have to go to for one of the missions, and you're in there, and we were like making jokes about that, because if you play as Connor, if you spend too much time looking at any of the androids, like in the little tubes at the strip club, the human cop Hank will yell at Connor, and he'll kind of be like, "Oh, my bad." So
Connor, the fuck are you doing?
Coming, Lieutenant.
Like making fun of was, so there's another android. His name's Luther, and his owner's name is Zlatko. So he's like this really weird, manipulative dude. He's been like bringing androids in and like breaking them down, tearing them apart, like looking at their parts and modifying all different types of androids, but not in like a, oh, I'm making like these cool robots. Like he was literally just tearing them apart, getting rid of their limbs, and just like for literally no reason other than just because he felt like it, destroying these androids. It was really bad. And he gets Kara to come in, and he like tricks her because he's like, oh yeah, well, I can help you. I can get this thing out of your head so that people can't track you. People won't know you're an android anymore, because all the androids, the thing that identifies them as androids is that they have like these little rings of light that are on their faces that you see, and it's really hard. Like it's kind of hard to miss because it literally lights up. Like it'll shine red, it'll shine yellow, it'll shine white, things like that. So it's kind of hard to not notice it, but the androids can live without it, so they can get it removed and just appear as human, and nobody will know. So Zlatko tricks Kara and is like, yeah, I can get the little light out of your face, so, I can get that removed. Nobody will know that you're an android, and you'll be fine. And so what ends up happening is he takes her into his little basement, traps her, and was just going to keep her there and like take her apart like he did to all the other androids. Luthor comes in, saves the day, blah, blah, blah. That whole thing happens. The joke that we have, we just like to make fun of them. Like, we don't have any specific joke. We just like to make fun of Luthor and Kara because it's like they just kind of like ended up being like a mother and father to the younger android girl that was with Kara, and it was a whole thing. We like making fun of them for that. It was a really good experience. It was a lot of fun. I highly recommend playing the game. It's a great game.
28 stab wounds.